Alright, Pistons fans, so in today's video, we have to continue with the whole Isaiah Stewart, LeBron James drama. The entire national media finally, they had their take. I waited a day until, the suspensions came out so I could get their input on that as well. So basically, I'm going to compile stuff from, Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd, just a whole bunch of guys, mainstream sports media, giving their opinion on the whole Isaiah Stewart situation because I'm curious. Obviously, I know most of you guys do not respect the mainstream sports media. I don't respect most of them. Now, there are a few of them that I do have, respect for and I want to hear their opinions. But for the most part, I understand that the mainstream sports media doesn't care about Detroit, doesn't care about Michigan. They only care about the Lakers, Celtics, the mainstream teams. They only care about those guys. And I understand that, but I am curious to hear some of these guys' opinion, and I'm sure some of you are curious to hear some of their opinions as well. Now, before we get into the rest of the video, please make sure you guys like this video. Today's like goal will be 110 likes. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and we almost only have one more month to go. So please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like this video. I'm trying to hit these goals, man, before this year ends. So let's get into this, man. So I'm basically gonna play you guys all the audio clips of what these dudes have to say, and I'll give you guys my take afterwards.
Not a dirty play. I understand, Skip. And we talked about it last week, Skip. When I was growing up, guy got injured. We automatically assumed it was a dirty play. Look, and I do this all the time, Skip, and you've heard me say it since I've been on here. Intent only matters to LeBron. Isaiah Stewart still was leaking. And so for me, Skip, it looked to me, they're at the free throw line, they're jockeying for position. Isaiah Stewart has his, they're trying to fight for position. And we've all been in this. If you played sports, get your hands off me. And he didn't hit him with his elbow, he back fisted it. So it was his fist that caught Isaiah Stewart right in the corner of his eye, and it opened up a wound. Now, it opened it up, Skip. No denying that. And LeBron should have been ejected. That is a flagrant 2. I tweeted at the time. They're probably going to toss LeBron for this. When you go back, Skip, and you look at it in slow motion, yeah, it looks really, really bad. And LeBron James deserved to be ejected from the ball game for a flagrant 2.
Okay, LeBron James had a second to gather himself. He closed his fist. Did he not close his fist?
Goodness.
This was not open-handed. If you're just trying to shove somebody, you do it with an open hand. He closed his fist, and he looked at the man, looked at him right in the face.
No, he didn't.
And he led with his elbow, and I'm still convinced it's almost quicker than the eye. I think the elbow caught Isaiah above the eye first because he led with his elbow and then continued on and got him with his forearm and the back of his fist across the face, and he also hit him in the mouth. And it took 5 stitches to close the wound, and obviously it started to gush blood. And again, I think Isaiah Stewart was so dumbfounded by just getting cold-cocked, cheap-shotted by LeBron James, the face of the league, who has no track record of anything dirty in his whole career, that he was stunned. He dropped to his knees for a second. He got up, and LeBron is approaching him like, hey, man, like I didn't mean to. I don't know what he said.
That's what he said.
But Isaiah said something back to him, and then all of a sudden LeBron took exception, and that's when it should have gone down, right then and there.
Okay.
And I believe that Isaiah Stewart, who boxed competitively when he was in high school, would have gone as long as LeBron wanted to go. And I believe that LeBron needed some kind of police protection to get to the bus because that young man, who's all of 20 years of age, wanted a big old piece of the face of the
Well, you just said it. He was right there. It should have gone down. Okay, so why didn't it?
Okay, he's dumbfounded. He's cold-cocked. He's blindsided. And he's shook because he got concussed, man. He got rocked. So that was a shot to the face.
Told me the difference. One game in November isn't going to make a difference.
You're about to lose to the Detroit Pistons, featuring a 20-year-old at center and a 19-year-old at point guard, the first pick in the draft, who was a disaster yesterday, as he's been many games, Cade Cunningham.
But guess what, Skip?
They're 4-11.
Okay.
4-11. That they've beaten Houston. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Because I totally agree with Anthony Davis from the standpoint that, he's not known. He doesn't have a reputation as a dirty player. That's not who LeBron James is. But that doesn't mean that the play at that particular moment in time wasn't dirty. The reality of the situation is you swung your elbow. And because you swung your elbow and it caused that kind of damage, the reality of the situation is that's what sparked the incident. However, I'm of the mindset that Isaiah Stewart, don't know much about him, respect his talent. He's definitely a man. The brother's 6'8", 250, built like a middle linebacker. Definitely so. Now, when he initially went up to LeBron James, he didn't go up like that. But how he acted thereafter, I think he deserves to be suspended for multiple games.
That are going to come from this. I'm imagining that Isaiah Stewart is going to be suspended.
Yes, listen, part of a responsibility of being a pro athlete is coping skills and managing and discipline. You can be upset all you want. You can't do that. That's just over the line. And I'm not here to defend LeBron at every cause, but this is nonsense.
I want to say this first, though. I saw this a lot yesterday, the Malice in the Palace 2. I can remember watching the Malice in the Palace in my dorm room. I was watching this game live the other night. Two very different things.
Absolutely.
Two very different things. Let's not equate those two things. So first of all, LeBron instigated it 100%. He didn't do anything to escalate it afterwards. Isaiah Stewart, after initially being fairly reserved in his reaction, started to taste his own blood. And we all know what that's like. He went into a fit of rage. He escalated the situation. He probably did deserve more games than LeBron, but I think 2 games is fair.
So yeah, man, a lot of things to unpack there. A lot of guys, have some opinions on the whole situation, and generally, I guess let's start with Skip Bayless, okay? Skip Bayless, we all know what his opinions are on LeBron James. He's usually anti-LeBron when it comes to these subjects, and thankfully, Skip decided to be really passionate on this subject, and for the most part, I agree with everything that he said. I found it kind of funny when he was like, LeBron James, he closed his fist. I really found that part right there funny. But for the most part, outside of that, I just in general agree with the things that he said. The Lakers going up against the Detroit Pistons, we're obviously not a good team right now. We've been losing many, many games. And for the Lakers to be down against the Pistons, and with the Lakers struggling so far this entire season, obviously LeBron James was very, very frustrated, very, very angry. And in the moment, I just think it was a split-second thing where he didn't even think about it afterwards. He was just like, bam, didn't think twice about it, and regretted it afterwards. So I do think LeBron James is in the wrong. I do believe that he should have been suspended, but I don't think he necessarily intended to hurt Isaiah Stewart. But I do think that he just was not thinking, and it was a spur of the moment type of thing. I kind of think of it as like someone who's drunk driving. When someone's drunk driving, they don't necessarily intend to hit somebody on the road, but sometimes they end up doing that. LeBron, I think it was just a moment where he didn't intend to hurt Isaiah Stewart, but it was just a rage moment where he just had to let his emotions out. So we skipped that whole point there. I do agree with him. Now he did, kind of go after Cade Cunningham, which I don't necessarily agree with, because Cade Cunningham became the youngest Detroit Piston ever to have a triple-double. So I disagree with his opinion on Cade. And then he kind of did, go a little extra when it came to criticizing our Pistons and, dumbing us down, talking about, the Lakers versus the lowly Detroit Pistons. He decided to go a little bit extra and attack the Pistons. But for the most part, I do agree with Skip Bayless. Shannon Sharp, obviously he's going to defend LeBron James. And I get what Shannon was trying to say, but at the end of the day, you can't really defend, this whole LeBron thing. LeBron was in the wrong here. And then as far as the rest of the mainstream sports guys, Stephen A., Colin, thankfully for the most part, people appear to be on the side of the Detroit Pistons. But at the same time, they are trying their hardest to defend LeBron. I could just see it. Because this is obviously indefensible. You can't defend LeBron James, but you kind of have to if you're the mainstream sports media, because he's their golden child. He makes them so much money. So they're masquerading as if they're defending the Pistons, but in the back of their minds, they really want to support LeBron. They want to make sure LeBron appears in the right light. And they try to do that. They throw, these little smart remarks here and there to defend LeBron. But at the end of the day, you can't defend the situation. So Pistons fans, that's basically everything, man. I know last night we took another loss against the Miami Heat. And then tonight we play the Milwaukee Bucks, which is going to be tough. We just got to keep pushing through. Young rebuilding team right now. Just got to keep going forward, man. So Pistons fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Thank y'all for 3K, and I'm out.